Flyperbole, flip, flyperbole. Flyperbole, flip, flyperbole. Flyperbole, flip, flyperbole.
What's up, beautiful people? How we doing? Steve Jaco here, back for another scintillating episode of Flyperbole, and not joining me this week is Ryan Quigley. Ryan Quigley, on one of his many excursions right now. He's probably trying to, I don't know, ride a whale, find Sasquatch, the origin of man. I don't know. Ryan Quigley's an enigma and a mystery to me, but thankfully we have a ton of great people to talk puck with over at Broad Street Hockey, and joining me this week is my good friend Joe DeMarene, Italian Joe himself, the Bean Boy, Mr. Bean. Joe, how you doing today, bud?
I'm doing fantastic, and it's funny you bring up the beans because I'm having beans for dinner tomorrow night, and then I'm making split peas on Sunday. I'm really leaning into my Bean Boy moniker this weekend.
You know, the Legume Lad is over here, and
Legume Lad.
That's
so
your
good.
sidekick. That's your sidekick.
I love
Legume
it.
Lad.
Bean Boy and Legume Lad.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. I'll get right on that. I'm gonna pitch that to Marvel. They'll probably turn it down, but then DC will turn it into Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I'll help you with that. I'm a big nerd, so I can help you with that. But what kind of beans are you making tonight? Because for those who don't know, Joe subscribes to a very fancy bean service. The man likes a quality bean. So what kind of bean are you making tonight?
So it's I'm gonna soak them tonight and then cook them tomorrow, but they're called Buckeye beans. And I'm gonna make a soup with them with like corn and poblano, and it's a rainy weekend. I was just like, it's fall. I think it's time to make some bean soup.
I will eat anything with poblano, to be honest. Like, I friggin' love poblano. We made queso with poblano last weekend for football, or 2 weekends ago, and it was fantastic. Like, I will eat the hell out of a poblano.
Amazing. And if anyone out there, any listeners are also subscribed to the Rancho Gordo bean subscription service, get at me with some of your recipes. Like, I've got quite a stockpile of beans right now that I got to work my way through before the next shipment comes in. So hit me up. Let's boil some beans, folks.
The Rancho Gordo Bean Club. I'm going to write a sketch about this one of these days. I just have to, because the name it's simply too good. I have to get a sketch in about that. But I admire, listen, I like a quality ingredient. And if you treasure the bean that much, then more power to you, my friend.
I mean, I think I'm going to sign up for a CSA box this winter too, like one of the farm boxes with produce,
Yeah.
So that'll be an exciting weekly thing for me.
I like a nice farm share. A farm share is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This is what all the testosterone filled men, the adrenaline filled men came to hear.
Flyers.
And cooking talk.
Beans and vegetables.
Yeah, but we actually do have quite a bit of hockey to talk about, so we'll get here. And just a real quick shout out to our sponsor, FanDuel. And yeah, let's talk about first one issue that kind of is near and dear to a lot of our hearts here. And we had a really sad passing in the Flyers community this week. One of the biggest deaths since Ed Snyder. We're not really measuring deaths, but like, this is such a profound impact. This is such a big name in franchise history, such an important name that we have to talk about it extensively. And Bernie Parent passed away at the age of, I believe he was 80, right?
80, yeah.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that's, it's obviously very sad, but it's also, I mean, Bernie was getting up there and everything. And, it's sad and it happens, but it's rough right now because like those guys, those bullies are just so old right now.
Yeah.
So whenever you get a chance to go see those guys, go do it, because they're legends. It's just like cool to be able to see them and meet them. Bernie came out to our draft party this past summer, and it was an awesome experience to have him there. I got to interview him at a Snyder hockey event where it was Snyder hockey versus Flyers alumni playing with and against them. Such a cool event, such a thrill for the kids. Bernie was so cool and nice. I'm going to repost that interview on the pod feed this weekend because it was so fun. Me and Steph Driver, I think, tag team that one. And I know it was a thrill for Steph. It was definitely a thrill for me. And I put this on Blue Sky, and I think I've talked about it on a previous pod, but the interaction with Bernie could not have been funnier at the draft party because I wasn't going to get a picture, and our producer at PHLY had urged me to go up and get a picture. I'm like, all right, fine, I'll get a picture of Bernie. Fine. I go up, and Bernie, he points to someone, and he goes, hey, he looks like Jesus. And he points to me, and I'm like, Jesus? What?
Sure, why not?
So,
embrace the role, Steve. Embrace the role.
Man. If anybody would know what Jesus is, it's Bernie Perrant, because only the Lord saves more than Bernie Perrant.
That's true. No, that draft party was the first time I'd ever met him. There was a bit of a few crossed wires as well when I arrived there. Like I was just going to the draft party to enjoy the draft party until the Nesbitt pick, but I'm cooking up some crow to eat on that one. We'll get into him later.
We're going to talk. We got some good Nesbitt talk coming up today.
But no, I was tasked with, oh, right, you're going to be Bernie Perrant's handler for the first hour of this. And I was like, oh, okay. All right.
I didn't know that. I actually didn't know this. Wow.
And for 5 minutes, I was just standing around with Bernie Perrant. I'm like, okay, hi, how are you? And he's like, good. And then one of the producers, one of the managers of the event comes over and he's like, okay, we figured it out. You're just here as a participant and not on staff. You're good to go. And I'm like, all right, see you, Bernie. And that was my Bernie Perrant interaction. So
now, Joe, you're a newer Flyers fan. You've been a Flyers fan for 5 years now. So what do you know about Bernie Perrant? Because obviously you know the name. You can't be in the Flyers community and not know the name, but how much of the reputation do you know? How much of the enigma that is Bernie Perrant do you know?
I've learned more in the past week than I think I did in the previous 5 years of following the Flyers. I know who he is. His jersey's up in the rafters. I know he won 2 Stanley Cups. I was listening to the PHLY episode earlier this week, and they were going over his statistics for what he was doing in that era, and it is bonkers. 70 games in a season, and he was still putting up these save percentages, goals saved, and I don't think it was appreciated just how good he was in that era. But he retired before I was born. I'm pretty sure he retired before you were born as well, right? Yeah.
It's it was a long time ago, but the accomplishments for him are just unbelievable. Bernie Perrant is one of the 2 most important Flyers of all time. And that's no disrespect to Reggie Leach, Rick McLeish, Bill Barber, Eric Lindros, and Claude Giroux. There are some great names out there, right? But when it comes down to it, the 2 most, and I would actually probably put Ed Snyder. If you have the triumvirate, your 3 most important names in Flyers history, it's Ed Snyder, it's Bobby Clarke, and it's Bernie Perrant. Because they don't win that cup without Bernie Perrant. Bobby Clarke obviously owns every offensive record in franchise history and is known as the captain of the Flyers. But Bernie Perrant is, there's a reason that the statue is Bernie and Bobby, right? Mm-hmm. They were the guys. He was the backstop. He was everything. They won their first Stanley Cup on a 1-0 shutout of the Boston Bruins with Bobby Orr, who is the greatest defenseman of all time.
Yeah. It's wild. I'm not as up on the history of stuff, but all I've been reading and seeing and hearing this week, I'm just dang, that was a critical player. And you said it at the top, you got to go see these bullies if they're out and about, because it's been 50 years since the last Stanley Cup. It's been a while. Time is unkind to us all. And
time is cruel.
Time is cruel. But it's especially a vivid loss because he was so involved with Flyers activities and stuff. He never really had a management role that some of the other players moved into, Holmgren and stuff. He was just out and about in the community action stuff. So he was always present. His face was always first out, and that's not going to be there anymore.
You could probably argue that Bobby Clarke's the greatest Flyer in Flyers history, but Bernie Perrant's the greatest personality in Flyers history. He's an all-time Philly sports personality. I'm going to run down some of his awards real quick just to hammer home just how great he was. So first off, Conn Smythe winner in 74 and 75, both Flyers Cups. He was the MVP. Just ridiculous. Vezina Trophy winner in both those years as well, 74 and 75. Obviously, the Stanley Cups. And he was the second sweater that the Flyers have ever retired as number one. You know, nobody, if you ever see a personalized jersey with a number one on it for the Flyers, I always want to just yell, like, take that off. Don't you dare.
Sacrilege.
It's complete
And
sacrilege.
isn't he one of only like 3 players to win back-to-back Conn Smythes or something? Or
I believe it's something like that. Yeah,
I think it's like Lemieux and Crosby or something are the only 2 to win back-to-back Conn Smythes or something crazy like that.
He had, for a long time, he held the mark for most wins by a goalkeeper in a season until he was surpassed by Martin Brodeur in 06-07. His 47 win season in 73-74 is still the record for most regulation time wins in a single season, and he didn't have overtime or shootouts or a longer season in his era. So, I mean, and also he's got that Time magazine cover that's iconic with just his mask, War on Ice, I believe it is, and it's so great. And man, he was just awesome. Like, he was just such a great personality. I forgot about some of the quirkier things that he had gotten into later in his life. There's a great piece by Dan McQuaid, who is a former Philly Mag writer who now writes for Defector. And McQuaid is a great Philly guy. I've drank with him at Oscars before, Philadelphia institution right there.
Oh, Oscars, baby.
Oscars. But he reminded me in this piece that for a little bit, Bernie Parent had a column in, I think it was the Daily News, where it was kind of like a sex column where he was kind of giving out like romantic advice. And yeah, okay. Parent popped up basically everywhere and was not afraid to talk about anything to anyone. He had what was basically a sex column. Unleash your hidden wolf on Valentine's Day, read one headline.
Oh, no.
Oh, it was great. No, it was all part of the bit. Like, he was just like, that's who he was. Like, listen.
What am I going to do next? You don't know.
Bernie Parent was a horny guy, all right? That's just part of his legacy. He was a horny guy. And he was just a legend. Like, he just was something else. Like, his personality was so big. His heart was so big. He was always so kind to everybody. He would come out to as many Flyers events as he could. I was reading through the book that's behind me right here, Full Spectrum, which if you've never read, it is like the best book you can read on Flyers history by Jake Greenberg. Fantastic book, Full Spectrum. I went and I got a few excerpts that I'm going to read real quick about Bernie from Full Spectrum. So first one's after their first Stanley Cup. And they're talking about, okay, the Flyers stayed in the locker room with wives, parents, and girlfriends for more than 2 hours. Asked about his party plans, Bobby Clark said, "I'll just follow Bernie. I'll walk across the water with Bernie." Fantastic quote right there.
Incredible.
And then the next one that I liked was, Parent woke up the next morning wondering if it had all been a dream. So he looked to the Inquirer on his doorstep for confirmation. "Miracle Flyers take the cup and city goes wild with joy," read the headline. "I guess we did it," Parent said.
Unbelievable.
One of the signs from the parade said, Bernie, impeach Nixon."
Of course.
Fantastic. Because, it's the mid-70s.
It's the mid-70s, yeah.
And then the other thing I really liked that I read, and this was a quick read. I had to dig up this book from my basement, unfortunately, but I might do a full reading of it because it's just so good. Again, highly recommend to anybody who wants to read about Flyers history.
You can be the audiobook version.
I'll do it. I'll just record it for everybody. There you go. But the other thing that was great was Bernie was given a car from a magazine after the Cup win, and the Conn Smythe win. And it was Sport Magazine's MVP of the playoffs. He was presented with a car, and he gave the keys to his coach, Fred Shero. I mean, how cool is that? Like, what a class guy. What an awesome guy. And I love this quote that McQuaid has at the end of his piece where he says, "Bernie Parent was born in Montreal, but he was a Philadelphian by choice."
Mm-hmm. It's true.
I just want to end this Bernie segment by just saying it, he had this one thing he would say all the time in interviews, and he would always just say, "It's a beautiful thing." And that's what Bernie's life was. It was a beautiful thing.
It was a beautiful thing.
Yeah. But rest in peace, Bernie. I mean, you were one of a kind, Flyers legend, and you will absolutely be missed by all of us.
Literally number one of a kind.
Number one, exactly. There we go. Number one, Bernie Perrant. And yeah, I guess we got to talk about the current team now. Actually, I'm excited to talk about the current team. I sounded down in the dumps, but I'm actually not, because I'm excited for the season to start. So we're in the thick of preseason now. We've had 3 games now, Joe? Two. Okay, it felt like 3 for some reason. But
tonight's 3.
Tonight's 3. Tonight's 3. We've gotten a look at some exciting stuff. Matvei Mishkov, our boy Matvei Mishkov, had a very nice first game. I saw more of the first game than the second game.
Same.
I watched I paid a lot of attention to the first game. The second game I was a little brain dead for, and also Mishkov wasn't playing. But in that first game, Mishkov ties it up with, what was it, a minute left or less than a minute?
About, yeah.
And it's a preseason game. And you know what our boy Matvei Mishkov does when he ties up this game? Fist pump down.
Hard. Yes.
Sellied hard. He sellied so hard. And then in the shootout, he does a sick backhand move. And he does the old, are you not entertained move at the crowd. He is hype for preseason.
He doesn't have an off switch. This is life and death for him, even though the games don't really matter all that much. No, it's so fun to see him out there on the ice again. And I think, is he playing tonight? I don't think he is he?
I don't think he is. I put on the shared sheet, I put the roster up. So playing tonight, this is the game against the Caps. We're recording this on Thursday afternoon. Playing tonight on forward, Travis Konechny, Devin Kaplan, Jett Luchanko, Rodrigo Abols, Alex Bump, Noah Cates, Nikita Grebenkin, Nicholas Deslauriers, Denver Barkey, Jack Nesbitt, Owen Tippett, and Jacob Gaucher. So no Mishkov tonight, but you do have Konechny, and you just have a lot of the bubble guys tonight, which I'm really excited about.
Me
now,
too.
Before we get too much into that, I just wanted to mention we have our FanDuel segment we got to do, and I just wanted to mention Mishkov. All right, if you want to go a little nuts with some real small potato stuff right here, because I'm not going to recommend you bet the house on this, but you want a fun bet for the season. We love how Matvei Mishkov looks so far. And he scored a lot of goals last season as a rookie. I think he's going to score a lot more this season. Now, the odds of him winning the Rocket Richard, not great. But you know what? You never know. You never know. So the odds right now on FanDuel are plus 30,000 for Matvei Mishkov to win the Rocket Richard. So if I put down $5, I'd win $1,500.
Easy bet. Easy money.
If you put down $1, which I'm going to do, $1, you win $300 off Matvei Mishkov somehow winning this Rocket Richard. So if you have a buck that you want to spend in a fun way, I highly recommend Matvei Mishkov for the Rocket Richard. One of these years, I think if I could make a bet that he would he would win a Rocket Richard by the end of his career, I'd take that in a heartbeat. This season, probably not, but it's fun to just throw something in there. The top odds for the Rocket Richard, and this should not come as a surprise, Leon Draisaitl.
Oh, really? Oh, interesting.
Austin Matthews is number 2 at 340, and then Kirill Kaprizov 550. David Pastrnak at plus 1200. That one's spicy. That one I would actually consider if you wanted to put some real money down on it, because Pasternak's fantastic, even though he doesn't have a center.
He doesn't have a team around him, really. I would also look at Kyle Connor, who was on fire to start last season for the Winnipeg Jets. But then, did he get injured last year, or was that 2 years ago? No, he played all 82 games last year.
Okay, that's a good one.
Goals,
Kyle Connor 7,500 plus 7,500. So those are damn good odds.
So I would. He's a dark horse, but not last season, but the 2023-24 season. He only played 65 games due to injury, but he put up 34 goals in that time. He was just shot out of a cannon to start the season. I think he might be a pretty safe dark horse choice.
Ooh, I like that one. I like that one a lot. Kyle Connor. You put down $5, you can win $375 on Kyle Connor for the Rocket Richard. So go over to FanDuel and check that out if you're interested, but please act responsibly, of course. So let's go back to this Flyers roster, though. Okay, because there are so many guys in this group that's playing tonight that are the bubble guys we're talking about. And Namely, we're talking about Bump, we're talking about Luchanko, and we're talking about Grebenkin. Although, I gotta say, he's not going to make it this year. Jack Nesbitt's been interesting so far.
I thought you were going to say Rodrigo Abels, who's playing for the third game in a row. Like, he might make the team instead of having to go back to the Phantoms.
Yeah, I'm not excited by Rodrigo Abels. I'm not going to lie. Abels.
That's fair.
I mean, if you're excited by him, by all means. I don't find him to be I think he's fine. He's fine. What Kurt and I and the Simpsons community would call a perfectly cromulent player right there. He does not excite me like these other names, because Nesbitt was the controversial pick that they moved up for, and he's actually had a pretty solid showing so far. At least he's showing some good hockey sense, and he's obviously got that size. Luchanko had not. I didn't watch the Islanders game the closest. It was on my phone and it was streaming, so it's not the highest quality game. I saw Luchanko make a couple mistakes. It wasn't his strongest game, but he's also been injured and he's kind of getting back into the flow of things. But
so Luchanko played in Montreal, but Nesbitt played it against the Islanders, and he did have that assist on Rodrigo Abel's goal. No, I might have a very slow cooker running with a fresh bit of crow cooking away in there, and
well, you got to get the crow tender.
Yeah, I got to get real tender. It might take a couple years, but early returns are I might have to eat something, because I, among the Broad Street hockey folks, was notoriously pissed off, not about Nesbitt necessarily, but the fact that they traded so many assets to get him. And I'm like, oh, maybe it was worth it. Maybe it might have been worth it, because he looks okay.
If he can be, again, a second line center, third line center would not. If he can be a second line center, it's absolutely worth it, because you need somebody to play those second line minutes ultimately. And even a guy who can just sub in at first line center, kind of like how Rod Brindamore would do for the late 90s Flyers. Like, you do have to have a second line center at some point. And I know everybody gets annoyed because they're like, well, when are they going to get the first line center? I don't know. That's what Danny Briere's job is. We just have to talk about the tools we have in the toolbox right now.
And I wrote an article on this months ago for BroadStreetHockey.com, like and subscribe, but I pitched the idea that the Flyers might not need a true talent top line center. If their wings are elite enough, you look at the 21-22 Calgary Flames, their wingers were star ascendant Matthew Tkachuk, established star Johnny Gaudreau, and down the middle, they had a career middle sixer in Elias Lindholm. Elias Lindholm scored 40 goals, 82 points, and was the runner-up for the Selke Trophy that year. As soon as Gaudreau and Tkachuk left, he regressed significantly, and his first season in Boston was an utter disaster. Like, he is not that guy. But if you get a player like Nesbitt or maybe Luchanko who can keep up with your elite wingers, you can kind of fake it. And I've said that before, and people are like, well, then you're just putting a Band-Aid on it. I'm like, well, I don't know, man. The Calgary Flames, that first line was pretty damn good, and the Flyers kind of have the profile of the players for it. Matthew Tkachuk. Porter Martone drew a lot of Tkachuk comparisons early on, although later in the draft cycle it was more like a Mikko Rantanen. Maybe it's somewhere in the middle. On right wing, Johnny Gaudreau and Matvei Michkov, very different players, but both undersized wingers. You know, there's some parallels between those two lines where I'm like, you know what? Maybe Nesbitt and Luchanko are both 2Cs, but if you put them between Martone and Michkov, you might be cooking something extra there that you didn't account for. It's just weird because most contending teams, they build down the middle and then get the wingers to supplement their centers. They don't build from the wings in, but the Flyers have way more skilled wingers than they do centers. So that's kind of the way they have to do it at this point.
Yeah, it is how they have to do it. And a lot of that comes down to the draft they just had, where they decided, because they had a shot at a guy who could be a number one center at Hagens. Yeah. They had James Hagens right there. They could have taken James Hagens. They ultimately decided that they liked what Martone had to offer more than Hagens, which that must mean they really, really love Martone, because they had the obvious need for center. Hagens is very good. He's a guy who fell, I think, a lot further than he should have. And a lot of it seems size-based and just other guys getting hot, like Misa and everything, who kind of eclipsed him. Everybody's favorite Brady Martin, right? Came out of nowhere.
God, yep.
Did he score 2 goals the other night in preseason?
I think he did score a bit. Yeah, he did.
It's
No,
preseason. It doesn't matter.
it's preseason. It doesn't matter. Unless it's our rookies, in which case it's a huge deal.
In case it all matters.
No, I've talked about this with Gilbert a lot. When we were going into the draft, we were both Hagens all day. But we considered what would we do if Porter Martone was there next to James Hagens. And I was like, that is the toughest conversation that you can possibly have. Because yes, the Flyers need centers, but there's also the question if Hagens can stick at center in the NHL in the first place, in which case he's just a very good winger. But Porter Martone, he's a winger. Like, he's never going to play center. That's just not the player he is. But he brings elements that the Flyers need. He scores a bunch of his goals right in front of the net. Guess where the Flyers really struggle to score goals from? He has the vision. He has the size. Like, in the Elite Prospects draft guide, they were like, for some of our scouts, this is a guy that has first overall consideration. Like, he was considered one of those upper echelon prospects, and the fact that the Flyers got him at 6, Keith Jones was shocked that they got him. Like, did you watch the like the brick by brick video or whatever the Flyers media video about the draft was?
Yeah, and Kurt was doing some investigative journalism for us by doing some amateur lip reading, and it sounds like they were thinking about Denoye too if he was available, which is not a surprise because there was a lot of smoke around the Flyers and Denoye going into the draft, and also just the kind of player he was described as, like a very intelligent two-way player. That's a real Flyers kind of pick right there. They like the guys with the hockey sense.
And a natural center. Like, of the top picks, he was the clearest, like, this guy's going to be a center at the NHL. There's no question. Like, he had those elements of his game. All of the other ones, Misa's probably going to stick at center, but you never know. Frondell, maybe he sticks at center. Hagens maybe sticks at center. Brady Martin maybe sticks at center. Like, that, there were too many questions. Desnoyers, clear as day, that guy's a center at the NHL level.
That's what he does. That's what he does. It almost seemed like they'd be getting like almost, I don't want to call him a Couturier, but you know, like a lot of those elements that we like about Sean Couturier seem to be shared by Denoye there, which obviously we love Sean Couturier. We wish he was 5 years younger and healthier, but you know what? We still love the guy at the end of the day. His hockey sense is unbelievable. And they like smart hockey players, the big thing.
I mean, if you don't have a top of the league center like a McKinnon, a McDavid, or a Crosby, those Selke guys like Barkov will take you very, very far, you know?
They sure will. Barkov might be the most important pick in Panthers history. You know, he's just, everybody talks about Tkachuk for those Cups, but like, they don't do it without Barkov.
No. Wasn't Barkov picked one ahead of Seth Jones?
Yeah.
Like,
well, because
okay.
That was an interesting draft because people thought Seth Jones was going to be a top end pick, and he was still a top end pick,
4th overall. Yeah,
we thought he'd be like 1, 2, 3 in that range, and then he ended up falling, and it was shocking at the time. But in retrospect, it seems very clear.
Yeah, well, I mean, guess who Barkov's teammate is now? Seth Jones. I forgot until this morning that they traded for Seth Jones at the deadline. Although Barkov apparently left practice with an injury of some sort today. He had a leg injury. He had to be helped off. We'll see. I mean, if there's any team I can trust to get through the regular season, it's the Panthers.
I think they'll be fine.
They don't care about the regular season. As long as they get in the playoffs, they're like, okay, now we play hockey.
Nor should they. They basically put Tkachuk in a cryogenic freezer for the second half of the last season and came out just fine.
First half of this season too. He's missing until like February, I think.
Maybe they want Christian Dvorak, wouldn't you know? Send him over.
I mean, people are saying, you know.
He feels like such a guy that the Flyers got to just trade at the deadline, but we're going to see.
They won't. Briere said, he was like, we didn't get this guy to flip him at the deadline. If we're out of it at the deadline, we'll look at our options, but that was not why we signed him.
It's not. I do believe him in as far as it's not a Sean Walker situation, but I don't believe him that he didn't get him to necessarily trade him. I think he might be lying a little bit there.
With Sean Walker, they just needed a warm body. Like the defense that year was a disaster.
Walker turned into an unbelievable situation. Just like you traded for a warm body in a salary dump, not a salary dump, but just to get a toxic presence out of your locker room deal. Yep. And you end up with a guy that you get another first for. Just like, that's wheeling and dealing right there.
I love that. I wrote about the Provorov trade tree back in July because all of the loose ends basically have been tied up. All of the picks that were exchanged have been made. The contracts that were involved were either expired or renewed or signed elsewhere. And it's just crazy to see the kind of value that Briere got from that one single trade. But if they do try to trade Dvorak at the deadline, I'm not doing it for like 50% retention and a 5th round pick. Like that's just nonsense. If you want your young players to have a good veteran center, you just keep him. Like it doesn't make sense to move him for a 5th round pick. Like why? If someone calls though and is like, yo, we'll take the full salary and give you a 1st and a A+ prospect, you're like, okay, here you go. Have fun.
I mean, I'll take a second for Dvorak. I'll be fine with a second, and I'll retain. I don't care. But we'll see how they are. I mean, this team is so up in the air. I mean, the Athletic... Who on the Athletic was doing those rankings? Was it Dom Lizinskin, whatever the hell his name is?
Dom and Shayna, I think, were...
Dom and Shayna. And the Flyers were, what, 27th out of 32?
7th, yeah.
Which
That's
is...
a top 5
I
pick.
mean, I think it's... Well, you know, we'll say I think it's a fair placement based on where they finished last season and all the unknowns heading into the season. But I truly don't know if this team finishes in the bottom 5 or ekes into a playoff spot. I think their ceiling is ekes into a wild card spot. And I think their basement is, I don't think their basement is worst in the league because I think San Jose or Chicago still got that locked down. But they could finish bottom 4 again easy. It really is going to depend on a lot of things. Goaltending is a big factor. I know a lot of us didn't like to see how Sam Ersson did the other night against Montreal, getting pulled after 1 period, right?
Well, okay, so Tocchet said he's playing the full 60, and then later on after the game, they're like, no, that was never the plan. It was just to play 20. Apparently, Vladar is only playing the first period tonight, and then they're going to let who's the other goalie tonight? Kolosov.
The other goalie
is
Kolosov, yeah.
Coley, the goalie. They're going to let him finish out the 2nd and 3rd period, I think. I think that's what I saw on Blue Sky today.
All right, I guess we'll see. But, you know, they also lie about this stuff sometimes to cover people's asses.
Kermit the Frog really came out there for a second. I guess we'll see.
I guess we'll see.
No,
but I had the tea
I
for
don't
that
know,
one.
man. You got the tea for that one?
Because, you know, Kermit drinks the tea. Yeah, I was just doing it. So there we go. But it's going to be, I mean, goaltending's a big concern for sure. But we're just going to roll the dice because it's going to be Ersson and Vladar. There's just no 2 ways about it.
Yeah, and I mentioned this. If Connor Ingram truly is available from the Utah Hockey Club, if he's still on the market, let's say, in November or December, and it's clear that Vladar and Ersson are not going to be able to manage this, I would go get Connor Ingram. He was real bad last year, but there were extenuating circumstances. I believe he was grieving his mother's death, and it really affected his game. He went into the NHL player assistant program. But the year prior to that, he had 25 goals saved above expected for the Coyotes in their final season in Arizona. And in the years before that, too, he'd put up decent stats behind a really bad team. He's 28 years old. He's exactly the kind of guy with 1 year left on a pretty cheap contract. He's exactly the kind of guy you might take a flyer on to see what he's got. But
if they didn't have Vladar in place, I'd be 100% on that. But I think they really feel like since they signed him, they're going to have to give him a fair shot this season. Sure. But I agree with you. I would prefer to have Ingram in there. I liked what Ingram did last season. And if some team does pick him up, that's a great pickup for them because I did think he had some solid moments and some good play.
Yeah, not last season, but the two seasons ago.
Yeah. I think I had him in fantasy for a brief period 2 seasons ago.
I started last fantasy season with him because I was like, he was really good last year. He's going to be really good, low-key late round pick. He was a disaster for me right off the jump. And I was like, okay, that was a wasted pick. Whoops.
It happens. You got to take some shots. You always got to take some shots. So I want to pivot back to the offensive conversation right now.
Sure.
So if we're looking, let's just go down. So Konechny is Travis Konechny. Come on.
Yeah.
Devin Kaplan is an interesting guy, plays with a lot of spit and grit and everything like that, but he's most likely a phantom this season.
I like him. Yeah, he's probably a phantom, but I like him. He's fun.
Yeah, he is fun. Jett Luchanko, again, has had to get back into the swing of things, but we all like Jett's speed. and we like his hockey sense, but ultimately, is it the lack of the killer instinct for shooting that's going to be his downfall? I really wish that he could go to the damn Phantoms, because him having to go back to juniors is so depressing.
I'm one of the ones who's like, I would like to see him go back to juniors, just because I looked at his
if you could trade him from his team in juniors
from the Guelph Storm. Yeah, I mean,
I've just heard I've just heard over and over how bad and I hate saying Guelph. It's just like
Guelph.
Gross. It sounds gross.
Guelph.
It should be Gulf. I don't like it.
Gulf.
But the Storm is terrible from everything I've heard. So I really would like to see him play with some better talent. So if you could facilitate a trade for him, that'd be great.
I mean, they took the captaincy away from him. They must not expect him back, or don't expect him to be there the full season. But I look at his last year, he played for the Flyers. He went down to the Storm. Then he played for Team Canada. Then he went back to Guelph. Then he went to the Phantoms. Like, that's a lot of movement for an just turned 18-year-old player. I get
a lot of movement for me. I'm 40.
That's a lot of movement for us. Yeah. And I'm like, maybe he'd be better served just being in one consistent place for the season. I don't know. If he makes the team, I'm fully on board. But if he doesn't, then I'm kind of okay with it too.
Yeah, I'm kind of lowering my expectations for him making the team right now, just based on how much time he's missed in training camp right now. Because like last season, and last season, part of the reason that he was on the radar was he was there in rookie camp and impressing. He impressed in the rookie games. He did well in the preseason games. He was around for John Tortorella to see what he could do and be impressed by it. Whereas Rick Tocchet doesn't know this guy. Rick Tocchet has no idea who the hell this guy is. So he hasn't been around to really impress. And I would say of all the guys right now on tonight's roster, it really seems like Nikita Grebenkin has kind of jumped up in the most likely to make the Flyers of this entire, like rookie camp, essentially, or not rookie camp, but just the young guys looking to make the Flyers.
Preseason camp. Yeah. He looks ready. Like, gameplay looks good. I think it might be one of the defensemen. We'll get to them in a minute, but just because of waivers eligibility, I feel like one of the defensemen might have a leg up on some of the forwards if that's how it breaks down,
Yeah, but man, Grebenkin just has looked the part. He's
so good.
He's got a big body too. He's not like Luchanko, where he's like a little undersized and like you want him to have a little bit more size. This dude has plenty of size already, and he looks like he belongs. And he's a guy who you could put in the bottom six, and it looks like he fits right in. He's also a riot. People think he's hilarious, so that's always nice to have some personalities on the team.
His laugh is ridiculous. If you heard his laugh, it's like like it's just like it's ridiculous.
Should get him and Seth Rogen in a room together.
Honestly, that's exactly kind of what it sounds like. No, he you know how the Flyers during the practice they'll have like the social media person hold up a sign with a question and they'll answer it.
Yeah.
In one of the Grebenkin's walking by and he's just like, yes, nice, yes. He doesn't even answer. He just like doesn't answer it. I'm like, it's incredible. Awesome. This guy rules.
Yeah. Oh. Grebenkin, though, it's kind of looking like he's the guy right now if somebody makes it from the offense.
Is he your favorite choice? Is he who you want to see make the roster? Or are you kind of just like, hey, having a young guy make the roster is cool no matter who it is?
I think my favorite's still Jett, just because I think Jett, I don't like his junior situation, and I think Jett's got like fantastic hockey sense, and he's got speed that this team needs. And I like the piss and vinegar of Bump, right? Like Bump has so much attitude and he's a fun player, but I think Grebenkin just like looks the most ready right now. Like he looks like it's appropriate for him to be with the team, and he's going out and getting it with the opportunity he's been given. Tonight's going to be really interesting. And again, you might be listening to this tomorrow when the game has already happened. So if Grebenkin crushed it, don't be surprised, because he really seems to want this. But Bump wants it too, but it's a matter of Bump just came from college, whereas Grebenkin's been playing at a professional level for a year or two now.
Yeah, and even in the KHL, that's a men's league. So it's a different kind of game, but that's still an elevated level of competition from the NCAA. So I do think Grebenkin probably has a leg up. Like his game is already NHL ready. and Bump may have a bit more of a learning curve. But reading about the game 2 days ago, it sounded like Bump was everywhere in the third period. And if he puts together an entire game like his third period, then like that might be all she wrote.
Yeah, the thing is, it's nice to have options, right? And
It's
whichever
fun.
one of these guys, I hope whichever one of these guys doesn't make the team, they kick ass in Lehigh Valley and they just keep knocking on the door because they're going to get to play. Bump's going to get to play this year with the big team. Grebenkin's going to get to play with the big team this year. Luchanko is more of an unknown just because he would have to go back to juniors. But one of those two guys going to the Phantoms, they're going to get some time. I mean, how many games did Anthony Richard play for the Flyers last season? You know,
it's true. We love good old Tony Dick.
Tony Dick, he's still flying out there. That guy has speed for days.
Wheels. Do you think Denver Barkey gets any games with the Flyers this season? Not to start, just like
I think at some point.
Later on, yeah.
I think he gets like maybe not a cup of coffee, but maybe just like an espresso cup of coffee, just like a little tiny cup. But
an espresso shot.
Yeah, an espresso shot, exactly. An espresso shot. And I think Denver, too many people think it's espresso. It's like very stupid.
It drives me nuts, guys. Sabrina Carpenter says it correctly. Like, listen to the song. That's how you're supposed to say it.
I'm hoping awareness of a popular song will let people know that it's not espresso.
I mean, didn't will.i.am ruin a generation of how to spell the word tasty? Because, like, in Fergalicious, I think he spells it Tastey.
They ruined a lot of things, Joe.
That's true. Man, I'm so 3008. You're so 2008. What an incredible line. Anyway. Boom, boom, pow. Back to the Flyers.
That's what we're here for. Back to the Flyers.
Absolutely.
So we've got a lot of young guys on the roster tonight. Owen Tippett is playing again too. And Owen Tippett, we saw a nice positive thing in this preseason. He got a power play goal.
Oh my God. I can't believe it. That's crazy, dude.
Wow.
You remember how many power play goals he scored last year? Zero.
Zip. Zilch. Nada. We ain't found
nothing.
Shit. Nothing. Terrible. I would love, this is a big year for Tippett, I think. Like, obviously you have him under contract, so it doesn't really matter unless you want to trade him. But like, I think this is a big year to make an impression with this coaching staff and to show that you are a part of the Flyers' future. Because last year was such a disappointment. It was such a bummer. I thought he was going to lead the team in goals. I really did.
It was a letdown. And I do think it's a big year for him because on July 1st, his 10-team no-trade list kicks in. So if a team calls up and is interested in him before July 1st, that's, then there's more trade options before July 1st. Let's put it that way. Although I don't expect that. I think he's going to have a good season. I think the power play woes really hampered what he was able to do. He also didn't shoot the puck nearly as much as he usually does, which is weird. Shoot. I can't wait to hear that again. That's how you know you're really back in hockey season, is when the Flyers fans are screaming out, shoot.
Yeah, we're so back when you hear shoot. That's 100% when you know we're back. But Tippett, man, he was definitely I think by far the most disappointing Flyer last season. And what is infuriating is that he can be so good when he's good.
Be incredible. It's so annoying. You see him put like 2 or 3 games together and you're like, this is the greatest player in the NHL. And then you see him put like 15 games in a row where he's invisible and you're like, what the hell? What the hell,
and
man?
That's the thing. He goes completely invisible man on you when he is not there. Like, you don't even know he's on the team when he's not doing stuff.
I don't know, man. I was at that Dallas Stars game where he had that backhand highlight reel goal. And that was my friend's first Flyers game too. And I was like, dog, you got so lucky that you got to see the Philadelphia Flyers manhandle the Dallas Stars. And you got to see Owen Tippett do like one of the craziest goals I've ever seen. Let's get back to that. Just carry the puck to the net, dude. You are bigger and faster and stronger than everybody else. Just go to the net and put the puck in.
That's what drives me nuts. He's so big and fast. Like, few guys have that combination, right? Like, Luchanko's fast, but he ain't big. Nesbitt's big, but he ain't fast, And somehow Tippett reaches both of these. He hits both of these, but he can't do the thing consistently. So this is a great opportunity for him. If he can work well in Tockett's system, I mean, you could have we were talking killer wings. If you can have Tippett, Konechny, Mishkov, Martone, Forrester, Brink somewhere, like that's an unbelievable just like depth at wing right there. And we're not even talking about like Bump and Grebenkin and all these Barkey. Like there's other guys in the mix.
Murtagh, like
somebody's getting traded at some point. You know, I don't know who it's going to be, but somebody's getting traded at some point.
Exactly. They're building from the wings, and if your wings are your play drive, I know it's weird to have a support center rather than like the center be the driver. Teams don't usually do that, especially in their top lines, but that might just be how it works. That just might be how it ends up going, and that's awesome. I'm into it.
Let's think about a team that I absolutely despise, but they did very well at the wing, and that helped them win the Stanley Cup. And that's the 2010 and many other years Chicago Blackhawks, where they had, don't get me wrong, they had Jonathan Toews, right? But part of what made Toews so good, that, you know, Toews could really do his defensive thing, was the fact that he had Patrick Kane and, oh my God, why am I forgetting his name? He was so freaking good.
Patrick Sharp.
No, Patrick Sharp, I think, was 2 or 3C on that team. No, oh my God, the guy who was on the Penguins. This is killing me. I got to look it up. I know it's like on the tip of my tongue, and it's driving me nuts.
I have no idea.
You're going to know when I say it. I'll have it in a second. But yeah, they had some unbelievable wings on that team. And of course, I'm talking about Marian Hossa.
Oh, yep. I know that name.
Oh, that's right. You're a young buck here. So as far as hockey goes, but yeah, Marian Hossa was such a pivotal part of that team. Like if you look at the stats, he's only got 51 points in 57 games played on the 2010 Blackhawks. But Marian Hossa had one of the reputations as one of the best defensive wingers in the game. He was so good on defense at wing. And obviously those are good offensive numbers that year, but just in general, like, I'm just going to run down some of his other numbers. Like, let's see, 2010, 11. Well, that was 57 points in 65 games, 2011, 12, 77 and 81, 31 and 40 in 2012, 13. And this is all while playing excellent defense. He was a pivotal part of those teams right there. And just having good depth at the wings was a big part of the Blackhawks' success at that time. I mean, again, it helps that you have Jonathan Toews, right? Jonathan Toews is really freaking good. But, having Kane, having Hossa, seeing Brouwer on there, Versteeg was very good for those teams before he ruined the Flyers a couple years later. Just really, really good depth. And Patrick Sharp, really good hockey player. I don't know if necessarily he's one of those guys that you look at and you're like, oh my God, if you don't have Patrick Sharp, you're not winning the cup. But having a Patrick Sharp, if Nesbitt can turn into a Patrick Sharp, I'm super happy about that.
Wouldn't that be dope? I'm excited. I have high hopes for all of these guys right now. Maybe I'm too orange tinted lens, but
Well, this is a Flyers podcast, so you should have an orange tinted lens.
Good. So shut up, haters. Have some fun with it.
Have some fun. Have some damn fun. If you're not having fun, what the hell are we doing here?
What's the point?
Let's talk defense real quick. And
let's do it.
Well, actually, before we talk defense, let's talk Tyson Forrester real quick. So Tyson Forrester, he's wearing the what is it? He's not wearing the contact jersey or the non-contact jersey anymore.
Yeah, he's in a regular practice jersey now.
Okay. So if Tyson Forrester can be ready for the beginning of the season, that definitely hurts bumping Grebenkin starting with the club out of the gate. But it's a great sign for the Flyers starting the season off strong because Tyson Forrester is, I think, a pivotal part of this current team.
Do you think he could win the Selke?
It's really hard for a wing. I mean, people argued that Marian Hossa should have won the Selke a couple of years. And I don't know if he ever did, but it's really hard. I mean, Mark Stone is one of the few guys to ever pull it off. It always goes center.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. He always got Selke votes, but he only finished. His highest Selke finish was 5th in the 2013-14 season for Hossa. And
there were people that really thought that he should have won it. There were big time arguments for that. But It's funny. I typed in wings who have won Selkie, and it gave me Red Wings.
Oh, lots of them, I'm sure.
Yeah, but I didn't want Red Wings. I wanted
No.
wingers.
Wingers.
Oh my god!
Thanks,
And then
Google.
the stupid Google AI said wingers who have won the Selkie Trophy include Alexander Barkov, Pavel Datsyuk. No, those guys are centers.
Doesn't know. Positionless hockey. Google AI is way ahead of us. They're already playing positionless hockey in the
It's a
cyberverse.
post center world right over there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's an uphill battle for Forrester to do that, especially because they always Selkie voters get in habits, right? Like it was Bergeron for years, it was Kopitar for years, Datsuk for years,
Now it's
Brindamore
Barkov.
back-to-back years. Like they get it in their head about certain guys or being the guys, and I think it's Barkov now.
Yeah,
Well, it's definitely Barkov. Barkov's won it out of the past 5 years. He's won it 3 times.
unbelievable. He earned it. I mean, he's really good. It's funny to me that last year, this is probably the same thing that happened with Hossa. He was going up against his own teammate in Jonathan Taves for a lot of these Selkie trophies. Guess what? Sam Reinhart was one of the 3 finalists last year, and he's going up against his line mate, Alexander Barkov, right? So,
And you know, Taves, for all of the reputation as a great defensive two-way center, he only won it the one time.
that's crazy.
It's because of Bergeron.
Bergeron yeah.
was so unbelievable. Bergeron won 6.
They're going to rename it after him, right? I mean, they should.
They probably should. He's
No.
ridiculous. Like Kopitar only won it a few times out of that. Kopitar is like another guy you think of as like one of the unbelievable two-way centers of the past 15 years.
Yep, but instead you had to live in the second coming of the Selkie, the guy the trophy's named after in Patrice Bergeron.
Well, I mean, Bergeron was just ridiculous. And it's so funny that Boston had no plan for him retiring. Just 0.
Elias Lindholm. Okay. Pavel Zacha. Really?
Yeah, I got one thing to say about that one.
What about the soundboard? We gotta get one of those.
Oh, it's going again. I forgot that it automatically keeps reloading. I got to throw
Incredible.
Yeah. But it's like, as a Boston hater, it feels very good that they had no backup plan there.
Yeah. Watch them struggle. It'll be great.
So yeah, Forrester, though, it's encouraging that he might be ready. But he's also a slow starter, so take your time, bud. Just be ready.
And he's coming off injury. So like we have to have some grace if he isn't 100% right out the gate. Like we saw Joel Farabee come back from disc replacement surgery, and he was not good for like 4 months.
And now he's a goon.
Never had that on my bingo card. I always thought it was weird he dropped the gloves here, but I guess that's just what he does now. I don't know, man.
He got into a preseason fight just yesterday, right?
He held his own against a guy who was much bigger than him, but you know, I feel like that's not the best way to use his hands. He should be using them to score goals.
And by the way, Joe, and it is a bummer because I thought Farabee was going to be like a legit one, like he was going to be great.
Yeah.
But there were some players assigned to the Phantoms at the beginning of the hour. So when we first started recording this, so the following 3 players have been assigned to the club's AHL affiliate, the Phantoms, today: Massimo Rizzo, Tucker Robertson, and Samu Tuomala. The following 6 players on AHL contracts have been returned to the Phantoms today: Sawyer Bolton, Cooper Marody, Garrett Wilson, Zaid Wisdom, Yana Peretz, and Keith Petruzzelli. And then the following player has been placed on waivers: Oscar Eklund. So the roster is down to 42.
42.
42.
The answer to life, the universe, and everything.
Exactly. We've already
that would be my jersey number. 42 would be my jersey number.
It's a great one. You know, every time somebody uses 42, that's what they're referencing. Every time.
Oh, I hope so. Because then you can be like, I'm the answer. I'm the answer.
There you go. I mean, in Philadelphia, the answer is number 3, Allen Iverson. But that's a pretty good answer, too.
All right.
I guess the only guy that's
Tuomala.
surprising there is Tuomala. But that's also not surprising because he hasn't looked very good.
He didn't look great.
As a guy I want to work out, but he got into a fight, right? In Montreal, I think he did.
Islander, or was it
or the Islanders
games?
Yeah, it was one of the rookie games. But I was like, why is this guy fighting? Like, what's going on? It's just like with Farabee. Like, why is Samu fighting?
Got to stand out somehow. I think it's telling that he's been sent down, but Alexis Jean-Jean is still with the Flyers.
Alexis Jean-Georges, of course, we all know who he is.
Jean-Georges, yeah. He's a small winger, goal scorer. He's plays with a lot of a bit more bite for a 5'9" guy than you might expect, but I don't know. It's interesting. I'm excited.
Prospects.
Too many. I'm excited for the Phantoms this year. Honestly, it should be a good time.
Coaching change. Just seeing two young goaltenders down there because it's going to be Kolosov and Bjarnason, right?
Yeah. Especially because of
it might be rough, but you know what? You need to see those guys get into action, and they need to get professional level action.
And I still believe in Kolosov. In our 25 under 25 rankings, I was the only person who ranked Kolosov. I ranked him 25, but he's young for goalie standards. His development path got derailed by the machinations of people above him or around him or something. I don't know who was feeding him and saying, like, you got to be in the NHL or nothing. Like, he still has a lot of developmental runway left for goaltending standards. And I know that's frustrating for a lot of people to hear. They're like, well, I want him to be good at 24. And I'm like, he probably won't be at his peak until he's 27. Well, that's too long. Then we get Zavragin. Zavragin's going to be a 22, 23-year-old goaltender. He's not at his peak then either, unless he's the next Vasilevsky. But like, come on, let's.
It looks pretty good. I'll say that much. But we're not going to see him. But his contract's what, 2 more years? 2 more seasons. Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean, if anybody knows how to get him out of that, it's Briere and Jonesy. But I'm not holding my breath on that. And to talk about Kolosov, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of technical issues, but that's what the AHL's for. And the big thing is he does have speed. He can go post to post. He overcompensates for, some, friends we've talked to, but he does have speed in there. And I think that's a lot, having some raw talent to work with, I think is a lot better than having whatever the hell you had in Fedotov, where you just have a guy who's big and has no idea how to move his body.
He's big.
That's it. Just like Sam Moret, he's big. That's it.
I'll be interested to see how the defense plays in front of the goalies this year, because Tortorella was all about blocking shots, but Tocchet has said, I don't need 6 goalies. I need 1, and I need him to make the obvious saves. So we're going to structure it. I think this was in an Athletic interview with Kevin Kurz, where he's like, I want to funnel pucks to a specific area so that those are the ones that the goalie knows he's going to have to make a save. I'm like, cool. This is dope. I like this. This is awesome.
I like that too, because I feel like you end up with a lot of accidental goals, like deflect off guys when you're trying to block shots. And you also end up with a lot of unnecessary injuries.
Yeah, I think Nick Steeler had more own goals than goals scored last season, trying to block them shots.
I don't need Mishkov out there, injuring his ankle on a friggin' block shot. No, I need him scoring damn goals the other end.
Yes, absolutely.
So looking right now, so we have the Capitals game tonight. We've got the 27th Boston, 29th Boston, and then the Islanders on the 2nd and the Devils on the 4th. And then the regular season starts on October 9th. Any other bold predictions before we get out of here today? I know we didn't really talk much about the defense. Anybody you're feeling strong about from the defense maybe making the opening night lineup?
I will just point out that Grans and Ginning would both need to, and Juleson and Gilbert too, technically. They would all need to clear waiver, and Samula. They all need to clear waivers if they were to go down to the AHL.
Juleson seems like it's a shame that Juleson is a Tocchet guy, because that seems like the obvious, bye-bye.
Yeah, he was real bad. Dennis Gilbert, I didn't see the Montreal game, but apparently he was okay. The big ones for me are Ginning and Grans. They're not waivers exempt. I don't think anyone would claim Adam Ginning. He's 25, 26. He might just be a good AHLer at this point. LJ Grans, big right shot defenseman.
I liked him last season with the Flyers. He didn't play a lot, but when he had his cup of coffee, I thought he looked like he belonged.
He looked okay. And with the Risto hole on right defense, he seems like a clear solution. Although, if we're talking the best option, it might be Emil Andre. However, Andre is still waivers exempt. Granz is not. I'm not worried about Granz getting claimed. We had this same discussion when Ronnie Attard was going to go through waivers like a year or so ago.
I
Every team,
never bought the Attard hype though. Whereas like I like Granz. I don't love Granz, but like I like what I've seen. I think he's a solid player, and I could understand a team taking a flyer on him.
yeah, and a flyer. Yeah, no,
Just
every
can't avoid
team
it.
can't avoid it. Every team is going to be trying to slip their version of Helge Granz through waivers in like the next week or two. I don't see him getting claimed, and if he does, I don't know the exact rulings on it, but like he has to play on the NHL roster for some number of time, or they're just going to waive him again. In which case, the Flyers would just claim him off of waivers again, or something like. I don't know. I'm not too worried if he doesn't make the team. I don't think he'll get claimed, but just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, it is something to keep in mind. But defense is going to be, it's mostly set, but there's a spot or two open there. So go get it, young guys.
Who do you think is going to make it?
Oh God, I think you're going to end up with like probably Jolson just because he is like a
Stop
target
it.
guy.
But
I don't want him in there. I would much prefer to have the guys we just talked about. I would like to see Granz in there. I'd like to see Granz get a shot just because if Tocchet likes the lefty righty pairings right there, I think Granz should get a legitimate shot, and we could see if we have anything, and if not, we could just move the hell on.
My opening night lineup predictions: I had Sanheim, Drysdale on the top pair, York, Granz, and then I think Sealer, Zamula, or like Andre Sealer, and you put into a rotation on the back end. Like, I think you're right. He deserves a fair shot. This is a good time to do it.
And it's a shame. Like I like a lot of what Nick Sealer brings to the team as far as, like heart and hustle and all that shit. But ultimately I'd much rather give Emil Andre a legitimate extended NHL shot than see any more of what Nick Sealer has to offer me. Because again, I like Nick Sealer. He's a solid defenseman. But we know exactly what Nick Sealer is. Nick Sealer's never going to be anything than what he is now. Whereas Emil Andre, I think, has a really interesting upside. Last year, we saw periods of time where he actually looked like he belonged on the top pairing. So I think Andre's got like a really high ceiling where I think Sealer's floor is pretty high, but his ceiling is pretty low.
Yeah, no, we'll see how it plays out. We'll see how Tocchet approaches these defensemen.
Yeah. We still don't know a ton about Rick Tocchet either. So that's exciting though. It's like
Taco.
We've got Taco. I'm not calling him that.
Zegras is. Did you not see that?
I didn't see that. I missed that.
Oh, Trevor Zegras.
I'll blame grad school for that one.
Yeah, Tocchet said in a post-game presser, he's like, "Yeah, I like Zegras. He's a good kid, got a good personality. I think he's calling me Taco." And I'm just like, this is incredible. If the Flyers don't do like Taco Tuesday promotions, they're really dropping the ball.
Taco Tuesday. Oh my God.
Imagine.
I want to see the fans all show up in taco shell costumes then.
Oh, hell yes. I mean, they did grilled cheese night for Claude Giroux's 1000th game. They can do a Taco Tuesday.
That is true. They did do that. That's true. I mean, I do like a taco. That's for sure. Interesting. Okay. I'll have to keep an eye out for Taco over there.
Good old Taco.
Good old Taco. That's how when we think of Rick Tocchet, we think of tacos. But
yeah,
we got like a handful of games. See really what is up. I'm fascinated to see what the hell we're talking about next week as far as cuts go, because I think they're going to make a lot of decisions before that next time they play the Islanders, and then I'd imagine that Devils game is going to be our first real preview of what the opening night lineup is going to look like.
Yeah. Do you think they have a winning record at the end of preseason?
No idea. I legitimately have no idea because I don't know what to make of this team. And I think they're going to give at least the next few games, the rookies, as much of an opportunity as they can to showcase what they have, giving them a couple veterans. Like tonight, I like the strategy. You get Konechny and Tippett in there to kind of, anchor the rookies a little bit. But for the most part, you got Nesbitt, you got Luchanko, you got Bump, you got Grebenkin, like you got the guys that you want to preview. Yeah. In case. Yeah.
Cates will be a good grounding force for the chaotic rookies.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have any idea what the lines are for tonight, right?
I haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah.
I hope they'll like split Kate's Konechny and Tippett across a couple of lines just to
I would
level
think
things.
just to like level things off and like you can see who can build chemistry with who and everything.
I'm excited to see Luchanko and Tippett together if they play them together. The speed.
I want the Flyers to be a fast damn team for the first time in my lifetime. That would be amazing.
That'd be great.
It'd be great. It'd be something else, but we're pumped. I'm pumped. I'm ready to go. And we got just a little bit more preseason and we're almost at regular season hockey. Almost there, folks.
Close.
Yeah. But we're going to wrap this up. And thank you folks for so much. I can't talk now. I'm so out of just words hard.
Words hard.
It's been a bad week for words. So, but we're just going to go ahead and plow back and just rewind it. Okay. Hey folks, thanks so much for listening. If you have any feedback for us, the best place is social media. And unfortunately, well, it's social media. So you can find me best places over at Blue Sky. I'm not doing good with the words after all that. You can find me at Flyperbole or at Esteban. It's for hockey purposes. And I really stress this. Hockey is all Flyperbole, okay? I have very minimal on the Esteban account, so I would recommend Flyperbole. It's also Flyperbole on Instagram and TikTok as well. Follow Broad Street Hockey and all that great stuff. Joe, where can people find you on the socials?
You can find me on Blue Sky exclusively at jfdmarini.bsky.social. Steve, thank you for having me today. It's been a real treat to be on the actual Flyperbole.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, Joe. I appreciate it. The Quakester doesn't like to skip these episodes, but sometimes he just has to. Sometimes shit happens and he had to skip it. But thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking puck with you for the past hour. And go follow Joe. Joe's always a great. There's not a ton of people talking hockey on Blue Sky, if I'm being totally honest, but I cannot take the other place right now. I just cannot do it. So we're trying to build a community. Come on, talk some puck with us on there. If you send me an ad on there, I'm much more likely to see it than any other place. So that's the best place, I guarantee you. So we're trying to build something. Come on, hang on out during the season. I won't be tweeting every game or what do you call it? Posting? Who gives a shit? Skying, but I'm not calling it skeeting. That just sounds weird.
No.
But I will be at least posting about the Flyers most games on there. So that is the place right there. But Broad Street Hockey and all the stuff. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe, please. And thank you.
Ring that notification bell.
Yeah, ring. And if you're over on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or 3 Men in a Podcast or Audio Trough or whatever the hell you're listening on, be sure to give us a rating, 5 stars, please, and thank you, and subscribe and all that good stuff. But folks, thank you so much for listening, and until next time, in the words of the great Gene Hart, good night and good hockey. Wow.